Here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Patriot Patch Company and Camerado.com. Justin, what you doing?
Putting my phone on silent.
What fun is that? Nick's not here. You got to make some noise.
Well, I got a couple of international orders I'm working on right now, Germany and Italy. So working on a new shipping company using DHL instead of the United States Post Office for international orders. So I got a new account.
Probably a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Cost you a little more, but let's face it, USPS isn't what it used to be.
Well, but they say DHL's got me at a rate that they're claiming that they're going to beat the post office price, but on international stuff. But last time I shipped to Germany, I had I used the post office, and then when it goes overseas, then it goes to whatever shipping company that country uses.
Yeah.
And so you kind of lose track. Like once it leaves the States, like I have no way of tracking it. Like aside from if they don't scan it in the next country, that what I mean. If they don't scan it in when it goes to a place, I have no way, and neither does the post office have a way of knowing where it's at and who has it. But the last time I had a customer that it was a couple of weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks that it was stuck in customs or whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand the problem. And I started doing my own legwork because the post office couldn't tell me anything. And then I figured out that it was DHL that had the package. I saw that's basically their postal service there. So I reached out. Well, that's what I suspected was that they had it because that's their post. That's what they have for postal service in Germany. And so I reached out to them and like, oh yeah, we got your package. We just needed this little extra information, and then we can release it. I'm like, okay, well that would have been great to know like a while ago. But so I kind of decided like, well, if DHL is handing most of the deliveries in Europe, then why even bother use the USPS? Just stick with the same company from point A to point B. So we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, hopefully it goes better this time than the last time. I mean, time frame.
Yeah, we ship all over the world, and United States Postal Service Ground Advantage, everything goes to Illinois, and then they do all the stuff, paperwork for customs and everything else, and then we get a global post tracking number. So is that something that you've seen before? Because we never had any problems tracking stuff like that.
No, I've never gotten I don't think ever. So what I use is I use priority.
Okay.
Well, actually, with international, it's just first class. Most customers choose first class international. Now there's another option they can use for shipping where it's like a little faster, but it's still, it's like priority international. It's kind of like the two choices that seems like people use. And but I don't think it really gives me a global number. It's just it's a USPS number.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that got turned on with us about 2 years ago, because everything we ship out that way goes directly to, like I said, Illinois, the big processing center, and we never have any issues anymore. Yeah. So it's different, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask Ken how things are going, but it looks like he had some technical difficulties. Which I had on Rumble, so Rumble was a little bit late on the start.
Brian, it's Brian, right?
It is.
Yeah. It's packaging and shipping is a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's yes, it is, and it's definitely a necessary evil. But packaging, boxing everything up, everything is just there's a whole department at Optical Prescription we have for that, with one employee that runs everything. Yes, it's a nightmare. So
to the average consumer, they would never imagine the amount of headache that goes into that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And just to change your shipping box, to the average person, doesn't seem like a big deal. Okay, we'll just use a new box. Well, no, that's a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah, because now all the packaging changes, especially if it's custom cut foam.
Yep.
You know,
It is.
yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I can see how that would be lots of fun, especially
It's
if your packaging isn't quite to fit into the nice, neat little preconceived packaging. Ken, your camera's not working.
I noticed. I've been trying to troubleshoot it.
That's weird. I can't do that to you.
Well, my camera is actually working. It's just not working with the software.
No, I almost dropped the line from IT on you.
Try restarting it. I did. It's my day job. First thing.
That's why I didn't do it to you. Hey, did you know that they made an IT Cards Against Humanity game?
I think I'd heard that. Yeah.
I'll send it to you, Ken.
All right.
I've got the PDF file with all the cards, so I'll send it to you. I send it to the guys at the IT department at District, and they constantly play it. Sweet. Oh, hey, so Ken, what you been up to?
So this last weekend I went and shot a miserable steel challenge match in the rain. It was cold, it was wet. And of course my optic crapped out on the last stage. Friday I got the website up and running. It's up and running and take credit cards. So I can now sell Hunter's HD Gold glasses along with Condition 1 cases. And we got a couple other potential brands that I'm hoping to add to the website here in the near future. So that's what I've been up to.
Excellent. I was posting some shows, putzing around. I did a little more 9mm reloading since it's sitting right here, and did some organizing. I found out that I have 4 generic GoPros that I could probably use for interesting and fun purposes. That I think I got them dumped on me by my nieces. They got them as a cheap Christmas present one year, but so I think one of those might just have to see what they look like when they're getting shot. Because I mean, they're dirt cheap to begin with, so I don't even know if it'll show up. But what the heck? So, other than that, well, I've been talking to that guy down in the corner there about coming on the show, and well, lo and behold, look. So, Ken has known of the gloriousness of your product for a couple of years now. I've heard about it a couple times, and then kind of really heard about it when you were on We Like Shooting a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And knew before the show was over that I had to have you on. Not for expecting any freebies or anything, but shooting glasses are pretty important, especially in the reloading department, because if you're doing load development and you're not quite sure what they're going to do, probably got a pretty good idea to have some eye protection on. Why is eye protection important? Because you can't hear boobies. We were talking about iPro at work one day, and I don't remember who it was, but one of the guys in the shop was talking about how iPro is just vitally important to wear, and somebody goes, "No, it's not." And then he dropped that line, and we're all like, "Crap, it is." So you see all of us wearing iPro now. So Brian.
Yes, sir.
Do you do, obviously you're involved in shooting sports, you know?
Yes.
I can kind of tell by the background that you might just have 1 or 2 firearms you might use from time to time.
Yes.
Do you do reloading as well, or hand loading?
What I did when I first got started,
Okay.
I didn't own a gun until October of 2011. when my wife's father passed away and I inherited some guns. My background is retail management, and that's all I've ever been into. It just hasn't been in my world to be in the around guns. And sure enough, when I got into it, when I inherited, I think 7 guns at that time, I thought it was pretty cool. And I just started collecting guns. Then I started collecting calibers. And then as everything was kind of crazy back in, 2012 when all this really started happening, 2013, then I started watching YouTube and I taught myself how to reload, which
Hmm.
was fun because I didn't know what I was doing. But if I went and bought a new, caliber, I bought the dies to go along with it, the primers and the projectiles, and the brass to be able to do that. And by started off with a Hornady um, ammo plant. Had one of those. Had a single stage press. Did a lot of hunting, so I did a lot of rounds one at a time in that. And then when I got into cowboy action shooting, when I found out about that in 2015, then I bought a Lee progressive where I did my 38 special, and did that. And that was did a lot of reloading when I was shooting, and then made my own hunting rounds and stuff like that. But once I found out about the shooting sports in 2018 and got involved in that category, by 2020, I'd pretty much sold every reloading component and all the stuff I had because I
Hmm.
wasn't, when I first got started, I didn't know anybody. We didn't know anybody in the industry, didn't know where to go. And now I'm in a situation where I've met so many people being in the shooting sports that, I know where to buy projectiles at. I know where to get ammo at. I know anything I need, I've got access to, have a line into Super Bell ammo. I got a line into Federal. Got a line into Excalibur ammunition when they were around. Ely, they were always at matches. Got plenty of 22s, plenty of 38 Super Comp, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been neat to not have to reload anymore based on the time. And now I know all the guys at Mark 7 and they're all like, you need to get one of these and travel around with it. I'm like going, oh yeah, it's something I could do, but it's a whole nother world of getting into the ammo plant business now. And now with everything going on with the Iran and everything else, everything is skyrocketing back up in price again. So if you can find a box of ammo, it's cheaper to do it than reload it anyway right now. But it's still, I had a lot of fun with it because a lot of these guns, are hunting rifles over here, other things you might can see, but the 308 was my round I love to hunt with, and then I can get crucified against different crosses based on people's opinions on that. But that's all I've ever used to harvest animals with. And I had a great load that I made with the 308, and basically my Steyr Scout, I had it loaded up, and I was out at the CMP here in Talladega, and I was basically hitting an apple at 600 yards over and over again. So the load was on point, and I love playing with stuff like that. So when I did,
Don't need anything better than that.
no, it was great. I took a long distance course through Star Arms when they were doing that, and Eduardo DeFranco, or however you say his last name, from Spain, was teaching the
Hmm.
class. And if that name sounds familiar to you, he was one of the guys that created King of the 2 Mile. So he's the guy that taught me how to do a lot of long range stuff and doing all that. And just basically going to a long range match, taking your optic off. And I was already in the mills because everything in the optical industry is millimeter already. So it was easy for me to get into mills and really understood how that worked. And then based on that, being there and Eduardo saying, all right, take your optic off and, you're going to, he messed with the settings and said, all right, we're going to sight it back in right there on the spot without any, doing it all manually and shooting long range was a great task and a lot of fun to learn how to do. So it's pretty cool. So I've learned a lot, and that was really, Eduardo, King of the 2 Mile, he actually wears Hunter's HD Gold. He was one of my tests when I first came out with the project, the lenses back in 2017, 2016. Actually, I met him at Star Arms, and he actually had a pair shooting out to 2 miles, and we actually did a variation for him because his issue was at that long distance, the gray targets when they're shot up would blend in with the ground, and the gold lenses were having a hard time being to give that contrast at that distance through all the scopes and everything else. And we did a color variation on that, and did some changes for him, and he still wears them today when he shoots long distance. So
Is is there any benefits that you know of when it comes to overcoming mirage with the glasses? Do they benefit with?
they actually, Eduardo told me this, and I've experienced it once when I was at place in South Carolina. I can't think of the name right now. It's leaving me. And I feel horrible because I'm going out there soon for AK Masters, and it'll come back to me in a second. But I shot a mile out there, and the Mirage picked up it. A lot of people said it dampened it down. They didn't have the big issue with that. Me, I enjoyed it because I saw the Mirage, but I also would see the grass and everything moving with it, if that makes any sense, shooting
Yeah.
long distance. So I could see, and I had no issues with it at all, but I've never had anybody complain about that. The really only complaint we've had at long distance is, like I just said before, when the target gets shot up and it's all gray, and that blending in with that contrast. That's the only issue we've really seen at some long distance
Yeah.
stuff.
It's like, I mean, the targets that I shoot at, I mean, they're not. It's not. I'm shooting at a paper target, so it's not steel plate, but at 1,000 yards, the small holes that these bullets put in a target, you don't really see them, but you get enough of a hole, sure, but they usually, with the electronic targets, they'll offset so that everybody is impacting high. So the bullets are tearing the hole in the target above the center, so that way you have a
Okay.
clean name. Um, so visibility of the target as far as bullet holes really is not an issue with, like, F class like I shoot, but
Right.
but Mirage can be. Now,
Right.
and it's one of those kind of it's one of those kind of iffy kind of things because you don't want to get rid of it. You want to be able to see it,
Right.
but you also want to be able to see your target clearly.
You want to be able to tone it
You want to
down.
see,
And
you want to be yes.
yes, and that's what we've experienced. Now, see, Hunter's HD Gold, we don't use plastic or polycarbonate like everybody else. So we use a material called Trivex. And Trivex is lighter and stronger than plastic or polycarbonate, but it brings in 43% more light to the eyes than polycarbonate does.
Okay.
So that extra contrast is a game changer when it comes to seeing at long distances. And now,
I'd be interested to be your guinea pig on that.
oh, I would love to. Just email me after the show's over. You can get more information from Mike or Ken, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit as well. I would love to send you a pair and let you see, because the golden color you see me wearing, you see Ken wearing as well. We don't see a color anymore. And let me tell you what I mean by that. The medical dye that we use, after about 6 or 7 minutes, it all becomes clear contrast. The only thing you're going to see difference in colors is if you see purple is going to look gray. That's your biggest thing when it comes to color shift. But other than that, you won't know you're wearing any kind of colored lenses after your eyes with the medical dye we use takes an effect. It all becomes clear contrast. It's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Now, a little background on me. So, I've got a long history of working in mechanical field,
Yeah.
and with using UV dyes to trace leaks on, industrial equipment. You wear the yellow glasses to
Right.
so that UV light when that UV light hits that dye wherever the leak is, that color really that yellow helps that color pop to
Right.
draw your eyes to the source of the leak. Now, and I've worn even yellow like sunglasses or whatever kind of it just and yes, your eyes adjust, and I've noticed, your eyes adjust to the yellow. But what I have noticed is that it seems like as long as the yellows are on, the greens look more green than normal.
Yes, that's correct.
And that doesn't seem to really go away much. Now, I mean, within an hour.
Right.
After a couple hours, I don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, the extra contrast you're getting in the color enhancement on green dots and red dots is outstanding with what our lenses do. But I'd be interested to see for two facts. I don't know what it would do with the dye that you're using. That'd be interesting for me to find out because I never had anybody ask about that before. And also the situation in F class. Um, I know I've heard it before and I've heard people talking about it, but um, I can't really recall anybody shooting F class. And the good question that Clifford just had as well. You on scope, you want glass. Glass is the best optics out there. So Trivex is not going to make a hill of beans difference in the scope. Glass is the best optics there is to get, period. But you don't want glass anywhere around your eyes in the shooting sports when it comes to shooting and splatter and the way it shatters when it gets hit. It doesn't reflect oh shit, can't think. But it doesn't do good with direct hits or anything like that. It'll shatter. You don't want those little shards coming in your eye like
Right.
glass does. But no, scopes, and it's a good story as well. When we first came out with this again, I told you I was involved with Star Arms a lot, and Star was real big in Swarovski. And Gray Farnsworth is the rep for Swarovski in the South Carolina area. If you ever go to any NRA shows or shot shows, you've seen Gray there. She tested them out for me a long time ago. And the very first picture I had when Hunters HD Gold first made a banner, it was her shooting long range, the Swarovski Z8, which was their top of the line optic at the time. And to this day, Gray Farnsworth still wears them.
And I shoot Collis, on my main gun, which is a division of Swarovski. That's their competition grade, and so I use their glass pretty much primarily.
Yep. No, so that was our biggest thing when we first got started, because somebody would say, "Who's that shooting long range?" And I'd be like, "That's Gray Farnsworth, a Swarovski," but it actually had a Swarovski. So if somebody's using a $3,800 scope at the time, still wearing Hunters HD Gold and seeing clearly, that's a great story. So that was our story at the very beginning. So,
okay.
But no, we'll definitely, I'd love to get you a pair and get some feedback, because the best thing is Optical Prescription Lab, where we make the lenses at, we're a lens manufacturer. So Hunters HD Gold is a lens of Optical Prescription Lab, just like Active Blue and everything else. So we make all this in-house. So if you said, "Brian, this is great, but," then I get to go to work and get to manufacture something for F class, because we can do anything that needs to be done. So
Ken and I were doing some PRS shooting about 2 years ago, and he had tried, getting me to consider the HD Golds.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if he had his handy or not. I don't think he did, but it was one of those kind of things like, he's like, "You really got to try them," and it never happened. And there was no, nobody around saying, "Here, try these." So it just never happened. But
no, we sponsor a lot of PRS matches throughout the United States, a lot of hunting competitions that are out there. It's crazy how much we've got. I'm involved in 28 different shooting sports now. So, and there's a lot of them out there, and we're official eyewear of 12 of them so far. So I still got some more work to do, but the long range stuff has been really good. It's been really good for us. So, especially now with all the suppressors that are coming out, and everybody uses suppressors in that, and it protects your eyes against blowback, and that's important too with the suppressors. So, I hope that helps some.
Well, Justin, does it give you at least an idea?
Yeah, I'm open to trying it.
Okay. So Brian's also being very generous in sending me a pair to try out. I actually just got done emailing back and forth with Chris.
Yep.
And so he's I think he was actually cutting the lenses today.
Yeah, they'll be shipped out probably tomorrow, the next day. You'll have them.
So,
You'll be able to try them. So no, I still do the same thing when I go to matches. I do demo days everywhere I go, letting people try them before they buy them. So we're real big on that, even on the prescription side.
Well, that was kind of the big thing.
I've heard stories of such, and it speaks highly of your company.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've also noticed, and I think this will go to a lot of the hunters out there, that the glasses don't really affect as like I'll be driving home from a match, and it'll as the day gets darker and darker, right? Driving towards night or even in the morning, if I've got like a lot of headlight glare, I can throw these on and drive in them in the night, right? They don't because they let enough light through. They don't make it dark. It's not like I'm wearing my normal sunglasses, but that PRS match, that PRS 22 class that we took together, I was wearing them. And there's a photo of me and they're just completely dark. And I couldn't have told you that there was any dark when I was shooting, as far as like the photo of me. And it just, right now they're yellow. You can see through them. You couldn't see through them in that photo. Right?
Yeah, the best thing is we made this lens as a hunting lens. I actually made it for myself back in 2014. So this is before I knew about anything. I bought some hunting property in 2013, and in 2014, this is when the whole process started of me even making a lens for myself because I wear a prescription every day, and I wanted a lens that gave me more light in the morning and more light in the evening because that's the best time for hunting hours, as we all know. But
Absolutely.
what I come to find out, I went through about 70 different variations of different dyes, different colors until I found the medical dyes that we got into. And what that means is, for what we found, what we did is, when I made this, it gave me 30 minutes more light in the morning, still does. 30 minutes more light in the evening to hunt with, which is incredible because, like Ken just said, he'll be out with his buddies. It's like it's getting too dark to shoot. He doesn't realize it's that dark yet. And we see that happen all the time, especially in the hunting world. Um, I was in a situation where I hunted a lot of my property. I had 280 acres at one time where we hunted a lot of fire breaks and a lot of gas lines. And that's not very wide. So by the time at the time, I had my Swarovski optics up and then come down to grab my gun, I'm seeing the ass end of a deer. So the Hunter's HD Gold medical dye we used allows us to identify antlers out to 200 yards without glass. That was huge. So that's a big, big, big deal. Then I love stalk hunting. So I would sit in the tree stand just like anybody else in the morning. But once the sun came up, everything, I want to move around and I want to go stalk hunting. So I wanted a lens that would change to get darker and everything else based on me going out in the field, going into the trees, going back in the field, in the trees, and have one lens that kept the same light all day. And that worked. And I was a turkey hunter at one time as well before it just got too expensive and I got rid of the property. But these actually in hardwoods in the on the eastern turkeys, the turkey feathers have a little glow to them in the hardwoods. Now that scared me when I first found that out. So in Lamar County, Alabama, where our property was, I knew all the game wardens, and I called a bunch of up. I said, "Y'all need to come by the cabin. I got some things I need to try out and look at because I got to make sure this is legal." And I told them what was going on, and I gave 4 game wardens some Hunters HD. Didn't have a name at the time. Try these lenses. It did not even have a name, and I said, "They said great." Three out of those 4 game wardens still use them today to do their job, and one of them's retired and he still wears them. He's just not doing his job with them anymore. But game wardens could walk in pure darkness to get to their spot to do their job, catching somebody doing something illegal. And they said there's nothing wrong with this. This is purely legal. There's no electronics devices in it for turkey feathers. This is all, they love it. So that was a huge find for me in the hunting world. And when that happened, I was like going, okay, great. I've got a hunting lens. This may be something great. And that's when I got involved with Steyer, some other people that were, only about 20 minutes from my house back outside of Birmingham. And that's when I started hanging out with those guys because I didn't know if anything was going to come with this lens or not. And then in 2015, I had a gentleman, we had paper day hunts out at the cabin. And a gentleman came to me with him, his brother, and his nephew came out there and did a hunt. And I had glasses for his nephew and his brother to wear, but he wore a prescription. And sure enough, he came back to the lab. We made his prescription, and he fell in love with them. And they hunted the property for about a good 6 months that year, on and off throughout the year in hunting season. But he's the one that says, "Hey, you ever heard of cowboy shooting?" I was like, "Larry, what are you talking about?" And that's what got me involved in the cowboy action shooting world. And then after we were doing that, after about 6 or 7 months doing that in 2016, he comes to me and goes, "Brian, you've got something with these lenses. You need to do something with this. I don't like this paint." I'm like, "Okay." So about 6 months later after that, Larry comes back to me and goes, "Hey, I've created this paint and I'm getting ready to put a shooting team together." I'm like, "In cowboy?" He goes, "No, no, no. I found this sport called Steel Challenge." And he was putting, and that's where he put together a team. So needless to say, Larry lives about 2 miles from me, and his name is Larry Joe Steely, and he created Steel Target Paint. And he's the guy that did that, and he put together the Steel Target Paint shooting team and Steel Challenge. And that's when I got involved in late 2017, and then in 2018 started going to matches to where I am today, being the official eyewear of Steel Challenge and other sports. But it was all just being. I don't want to call myself an entrepreneur, but I'm an opportunist, and I saw an opportunity, and I just kept saying yes. And instead of saying no, we're not going to do that, I just kept saying yes because I had no idea I was going to be anywhere where I am today. And I had somebody ask me on another show I was on, and they said, "Did you ever think you would be where you're at?" And I said, "No, I had no plans for this." They said, "Did you ever think you'd be successful?" I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, I knew I was going to be successful. I just didn't know in what market or how it was going to work. But anything I get into, we're going to make it work." And as you've seen, and as Ken's seen at some stuff, he's seen me at matches before, and when he sees me this year again, the entire process of what we do has changed. I started off just with a 10 by 10 tent and 8 different frames. Then in 2020, I bought a Mercedes van, called it the Magical Mystery Tour, traveled around with a van, and I had 18 of my own guns in the back. I would loan people my guns out if their gun broke in a match. So that was pretty cool. I got involved with other manufacturers. And now we retired the van late last year. And this year we've got the Hunters HD Gold Command Center, which is a 16-foot by 8.5 foot wide covered trailer. And I've got 50 something guns back there and about 9 different companies that I work with, and it's an entire experience when you go to a match and see me now. So I loan out my guns still. So if you've never shot the new Kimber 2011, I've got one of those. You can go shoot it. I've got ammo for you by Super Bell. We do the Vortex VIP experience. So if you have a Vortex optic and it goes down at a match, we replace your optic right there on site. We've got brand new optics to replace it with by Vortex. We have free coffee every morning by Jesse James Coffee out of Austin, Texas. The Jesse James West Coast Choppers. He's into the shooting sports. And just so many other great companies we work with Ghost Holsters USA. If somebody needs to borrow a holster, um, Fancy Pants Holsters out of Missouri. We work with him. All these different companies, Lock Grips. I can just speed loaders out of Utah. We just became part of an entire process to be a part of the shooting sports. And that's what's been a lot of fun because we're still selling glasses for a living, but we had this whole other process that, I was at a match 2 weeks ago and a lady was like, "I'm out of ammo. I need 20 more rounds." And I said, "Here's a box of Super Bell. Go have a good day." And Super Bell gave me the ammo to give to her. So we keep people in the match, and that's what it's all about. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool process.
Well, my experience meeting you the first time, I was ROing down at Carry Optics Nationals in 2022. Um, Unfortunately, got myself DQ'd on the first stage, not firing a single round.
It happens.
So it happens, But I had a great time. I was walking around, and you were one of the first vendors to really get set up. And I walked up and kind of, I think the first thing I said is, "Listen, I got a fat head. Most sunglasses don't fit me."
Yep.
And you handed me a pair of, I don't remember what they were, and you're like, "Yep, those aren't going to work." And we walked into the van, and you said, "Here, try these." And I said, "No, those don't feel too bad." And he said, "All right, come back at the end of the weekend, and if you bring them back at the end of the weekend, if you enjoy shooting." I walked around for probably maybe a half hour, and I was walking back by, and I'm like, I might as well just give him the credit card now because it's. I saw what you were talking about. they were more comfortable than the glasses I were wearing, because I was at that point. I think I was I might have been wearing my standard sunglasses for matches, or it was either that or a pair of $10 cheap safety glasses that you can that I'd ordered off Amazon, and I ordered like 10 of them or whatever it was. So I had a bunch of them. And so I've been wearing this pair since then. It's probably time to get another pair, but again, I got a fat head, so I got to find the right frame. So
yeah, you do, but you're an authorized retailer now, and thank you so much for wanting to be part of that program. So when you're ready, let me know. We'll get you taken care of.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was a great experience. At that point, you had the van. You had a tent set up there. Basically, you had a lounge area. I heard at some point you had cigars. I know you had drinks and some candy, but I think somebody mentioned something like, "Oh, he's got these really good cigars," and I don't really smoke cigars, so I didn't go back to find out. But it was one of those that was like, okay, it's just kind of an atmosphere around your booth, whereas most vendors, you go to these matches and they're set up and they're willing to talk about the products, and they're great. I really like talking with Creekside Customs at World. Great people.
I'm doing a show with him tomorrow night on Rumble. So Steve Foster. Yeah, we're doing a show tomorrow night live.
I won't be watching because I'll be driving back from Minnesota.
Well, you can definitely listen to it. It's going to be an awesome show. We're both excited. Yeah. I did a podcast with Steve before, and in Creekside Customs. Sorry to stop your story real quick and interrupt you, but he is just an amazing individual, and he was one of the first shooters we made a prescription for with the Steel Target Paint shooting team, because he was a team captain back in 2017 when we first got started. So love Steve.
Good company. But then Mark 7, which I run a Mark 7 for my reloader.
Nice.
Talked with those guys and they were good, but it was kind of like, yeah, all right, they're talking, they'd answer your questions, but like when you go to a match and you meet you and you kind of get around, it's an atmosphere. It's something fun that's going on as also on the match. Right?
Yeah. We have a whole lounge area for people to sit around and just relax, smoke cigars, drink hydration drinks, and everything's free. So it just gives you a place to come hang out and meet other like-minded people that can, make you feel better when you don't get to shoot the match.
So Brian, Ken brought up something that is a good subject to bring up, because everybody's head is a little different.
Yes.
So I have the opposite problem that he has, is that I have a narrow face.
He got a tiny head.
A lot of glasses I put on stick out too far past the side of my face.
Right.
And it's like, well, I look like a clown. I ain't wearing these.
Right.
And what I found that I like the best is, now I'm just going to use these as an example. My heart's not set on these. I do like them, but so these are Fortnites. I like the square frame.
Yeah.
I like the shaped lenses. These were designed so that the nose piece, where the lenses are to the nose piece, nose piece is a little low, and I'll put them on so you can see.
Yeah.
So you can see how high the frames are to my eyebrows.
That's correct. And you want that when you're going down in your scope, you want that to be up there.
Yes, because when I get down in my scope and I put my head down, now I'm looking like up by my eyebrows. That's like where I look, that's just the head position for that shooting position. And so that's where I had a problem with a lot of safety glasses, that it would, especially frames like that, where the top of the frame would obstruct my view.
Right. And we have solutions for that based on some of the frames we have. It has adjustable nose pieces. But the biggest solution we have is I can put my lenses in your frame that you already have.
Okay. So you have more than just aviator frames. You have all kinds of frames.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a frame. We got a frame called the Marksman, which is named that for a reason, for the adjustable nose piece, where you can take it, push the nose piece in, and make that frame come up here. So when you're going down your scope, there it is. So that's called the Marksman.
That sounds like a pretty ideal.
The only complaint I have about those is they're not. You can't put prescription lenses in them yet.
That frame has too much of a base curve to put prescription in. That's correct. That's good. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and for
so
me,
I'm gonna show everybody.
For me, that's okay. That would be, it sounds like well, I'll take your advice. Whatever you think I should demo, you know what I shoot, so I'll
The best thing is we can get you a pair of Marksmans. If they don't work, you just find a pair of your Fortnite frames that are scratched lenses or something and send them to me. So
okay. I
we
don't
can make that.
have any scratch ones, but I
click the shop button over there to the right.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
there we go.
Oh, okay.
So here's I'll let you do the talking. I'll just do the mousing.
No, you're good. Go. Let me see. I got chat holding up one side. The Marksman may be at the top right hand side. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You see right there how the nose piece is kind of pushed in right there, but that's an adjustable nose piece right there. And there may be some other pictures there that show different angles of that. Yep, there is. See how that nose piece on him looks straight?
Yeah, so they're
can,
bendable basically.
That's a bendable nose piece. That's correct.
Yeah.
So, but it is a wider frame, so it may be too wide for your narrow face, and that's okay too. But at least it gives you something to start with. So
yeah. So,
but maybe
we can talk after the show on some of this.
Oh, of course. And we do so much in custom. When the Ray-Ban Metas just came out, we're probably doing 5 or 6 pair of Metas a day. It's nuts because our lenses are cheaper than what Ray-Ban's trying to get done. So we do lenses for Ray-Ban Metas all the time. So
these are the ones I just ordered.
That's a B-Rays. That does really good with prescriptions with a wrap. It does really well. You'll like that frame.
So I have a problem with I get cantankerous with the way they fit on my nose.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really fell in love with the Marksman, because they had that adjustable nose piece, and then I had to find one that was close.
Yeah.
And
I'm in the process right now of working with a company out of Colorado to get a frame designed that doesn't have as much wrap like the Marksman does, but it won't be available till probably late 2027 to be realistic. It's just
that'll be about the time that I'll be ready to
exactly
spend my money.
It takes a while to manufacture a frame, and it's one of those things. We're definitely in talks about it. And the Marksman at one time we could do prescriptions in it, but Trivex blanks used to be at 79 millimeter blanks. Okay, that's the diameter of like a hockey puck, basically, right. And that's how everything starts off when we're doing everything. And basically, they dropped that down to 76 millimeters and 77 millimeters, which was making it where the notches in the top corner was too far on the wrap, and it wasn't working anymore for prescription. So that's why we had to stop that. So it's just very frustrating because we don't have a lot of control over what the 5 different lens manufacturers that we use. We use Essilor, we use Zeiss, we use Hoya, we use Shamir, we use Younger, and IoT. We use Trivex blanks. They're all the same. It doesn't make it. A Zeiss blank and a Hoya blank and an Essilor blank, they're all the same. The Abbey value is the same. The light transmission is the same. There is no difference in the pucks itself.
I've been pretty happy with the Zeiss lenses and the glasses that I've been using. So that was one thing I was really particular about, because it's like, I'm looking through a $4,000 scope. I don't need crappy glasses messing up my view. I paid all this money for a scope so I can see good.
Well, that's what I can't wait. I can't wait for you to compare what you have that's polycarbonate to what we have that's Trivex. Just a game changer in optics. It's really neat. So
now, like you said, they don't enforce safety glass, wears. I don't wear safety glasses when I shoot, but if it would improve my view of the target and reading the mirage, I would wear them.
Well, like I said, we got a lot of people, and Eduardo, king of the 2 mile, that should tell you a lot, because that's shooting a long way.
Yep.
He doesn't shoot without them. So, but like I said, if Hunter's HD Gold is not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. I am an optical lab, like we talked about. So if you say, Brian, I like this, but I can make anything for you. So just keep that in mind. So do you, what's that? Do you have any that are ANSI Z87 certified? All of our safety frames are Z87 frames. The ANSI rating for the lenses are all 2020 standards. Now, let me tell you what that means, because that's a very important question as well. What you see at Home Depot, what you see at Lowe's, what you see that people sell basic safety frames, ANSI ratings are only to 2013 standards. Okay, hear me out. Then 2015 standards came out, but OSHA only requires 2013 standards. 2020 standards have come out for high impact and everything else. And what that is, on a safety frame, it'll have UV6 plus on the top right hand corner of your lens on a safety frame. We don't put those markings on a non-safety frame because you can't have ANSI markings of a lens on a non-Z87 safety frame. Whole big thing right there. So what I'm trying to say is we're up to the highest ANSI ratings you can get for lenses. Okay. And OSHA only still requires 2013 standards, which will protect your eyes. But we have a lot more that does UV protection. We have a lot more that does variable tint. And the 6 plus is for high impact and stuff like that. So that's a whole standard that we're way above what OSHA requires on your basic stuff you're going to buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. And then to answer the other gentleman's question that popped up there, we've got all types of frame sizes. When he showed the website earlier, if you go into the description of each frame, it actually shows the size of each frame. If you're in a situation where you don't want to use one of your personal frames, you want to use one of our frames, you can call Chris at the office, and instead of ordering or hit contact on the website, all those emails come straight to me, and I can get you in touch with the office. We've actually sent out demo frames before and let people try demo frames before we put lenses in them. So there's a lot of stuff we don't advertise on the website because there's a lot of bad people in the world. But when it comes to customer service, if you have a conversation with us and you talk to us over the phone, there's nothing we won't do for you to make sure we get you the right pair of Hunter's HD Gold advanced shooting lenses. So that's what I'll say about that, if that makes any sense. Are the lenses HSA eligible? Yes, HSA and FSA, they are in prescription or non-prescription. And I've had a lot of people say, well, how is it done for non-prescription? And the difference is because with the advanced technology we use with the medical dye, it actually blocks UVA, UVB, and blue light. So it works under your HSA for non-prescription as well. Now, your receipt is not going to say Hunter's HD Gold because, as we said earlier in the show, Optical Prescription Lab is the manufacturer. Hunter's HD Gold is a lens of Optical Prescription Lab. So your receipt's going to have Optical Prescription Lab. That lab that my wife's mother started in 1977 is known throughout the entire optical industry, and every insurance company and HSA knows who we are. We've been in business for, next year, it'll be 50 years. So we don't have any issues with HSA, FSA. We do not take insurance directly. This is a very important question because we're not owned by a doctor. We're owned by my wife. She's not a doctor. No matter what she tells you, she's not. So we can't take insurance directly. But you're going to get that receipt from Optical Prescription Lab, and you can file out of network with your insurance provider, and they'll get money back based on your out of network plan. And if you have to have a lens that says it's worth this much and a frame that says it's worth this much, we can make that receipt say anything it needs to say for your insurance company. So that's a great question as well.
That's nice to hear. Because like the place I work, they've gone, they've really been pushing a high deductible HMO the last couple of years.
Yep.
But the nice thing is they cover most of your deductible with a kickback from the district.
Yes. Right.
Because it's cheaper for them to do it that way, and their portion of the insurance is cheaper.
Yep.
Even giving, every employee that amount of money than it is to actually pay for the other HMO. So.
Yep. Yeah, and if you're, we make a lot of safety glasses for a lot of companies, and if they don't allow the gold tint we can make clear as well. So that way, because a lot of people don't like variable tint, that can't use photochromic lenses at work. Some people don't allow it, some people do. We can make anything for you. And if you don't need all the benefits of what Hunter's HD Gold has to offer, that just means the price gets lower. So
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
Well, I guarantee I'll be wearing them to work.
Good deal.
Well,
Good deal.
I ride a motorcycle to work as much as I possibly can.
Oh, you'll love these riding the motorcycle because
And
you're
that's
going to have.
when you started talking about all the benefits and everything, and Ken was
Yes.
talking about them tinting, because I've got I needed some glasses quick because my prescription changed. So
Mhm.
I wasn't in the mood to dick around with insurance and all of the hoops that I had to jump through that, because let's face it, if you go to your normal eye place nowadays, your insurance for most of your plans is going to cover your frames and maybe like $10 your lenses.
Yep.
So a few years ago, I gave Zenny a shot.
Mhm.
They are what they are. I'm going to say that right now. Do not expect high quality lenses. Do not expect them to be cut perfectly all the time. And don't ever try to get progressive lenses from them.
Yep.
They can't do it. They've tried.
Well, and that's the best thing about us as well. When we make progressive lenses, when we make any prescription, we don't charge you up front. We want you to try it before you buy it, and we don't like taking any money until we know we got it right. So we're not always perfect. We're human.
Well,
I got
when you
17
mentioned when you mentioned the name of the lab,
yeah,
I'd heard it before.
Oh wow.
My brother for years worked for iMart Express.
Okay.
As a lab manager, and then actually also a regional trainer.
Okay.
And so he had talked about quite a few. I'm like, well, what do you do? They cut most of the single lenses there. I said, so what do you do for the oddballs and the expensive ones? And he said, there's 3 labs we use, and that's one of them. So
yep, that's awesome. Yeah, we do a lot of business for a lot of people throughout the Southeast and all over, but we're the last.
We're based out of Texas.
Yeah, we're the last independent optical lab in the entire state of Alabama. If that tells you anything, because all the big boys have bought everybody out.
Right.
Brian, so I have a question.
Yeah.
What is your policy on your lenses? Do you have any kind of a warranty? What's your policy on lenses if you do have a warranty?
We do. It's not listed on the website for a reason, because it's not really we work with everybody individually. So
I realize how sensitive of a thing that can be, because I go through safety glasses with work and they get fine little scratches and you know.
Now, the frame, we're not in the frame business. I think we've established I'm a lens manufacturer. I'm not a frame manufacturer. So my frames averaging cost, I won't say average, I'll tell you where they're at. They start at $6 and go to $27 for a frame. Okay. They're cheap. They're safety frames. So what I will say, if the frame breaks for any reason, we replace that, no questions asked, period. So that's easy to work with. Lens wise, here's how this works in the shooting sports. If somebody's shooting and they catch a frag, I couldn't think of the word, they catch a frag and it's in that 13 to 18 millimeter area, the pupil area, and it leaves a mark there, then you send it back to us, we'll replace that one lens. Scratches, smudges, normal wear and tear, it's not really anything we can do with that. Now, we work with you, and let's say you pay your first pairs. If you see me at a match, Ken bought a pair of non-prescription at a match, not $375. MAP pricing is $300. Okay, so that's probably what Ken bought them for at Carry Optics Nationals, unless there was some other coupon or anything else he had based on all the matches I sponsor. Now, saying that, if you buy a pair of prescription shooting glasses at $400, okay, that's your first pair. When your prescription changes, the price drops. You will never pay $400 ever again. We have customer loyalty discounts. So we're in a situation where if just one eye needed to be replaced, we just change that one eye, the price drops considerably. So
sure, you're not replacing the frame, you're just replacing the lens.
That's correct. But in most cases, we give you a brand new frame anyway. Because like I said before, the frame is just a basic safety frame. I'd rather spend the extra, on average, $15 on a frame and use a brand new frame with brand new lenses. That's just because you use a frame that's been out in the heat, the cold, the heat, the cold, the cold, the heat, blah, 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 blah. That frame gets brittle. And as that, you put brand new lenses in a brittle frame, then you're more likely for that frame to break. So there again, we have conversations with everybody.
Yeah.
If you have I've had oh shit moments with all kinds of people. I'm like, send them back to us. Let's get you taken care of. And then we take care of people. And they're like, how much do I owe you? Don't do that shit again. Conversation. And there's been people that, my dog ate these and they scratched them up. Come back, it's going to be this much money. You got to hold your dog accountable. I can't control that. So, but it's a personal conversation you have with me, Chris, Lane, Lori, Paula at the lab. That way we understand what's going on. We understand life happens. We understand I'm running with a gun at full speed. I kept my gun safe, but my head went into the gravel and shit.
Earbud down.
Yeah, earbud down. But we're in a situation where you kept your gun safe, you didn't DQ, but you scratched the shit out of your lenses. So guess what? We might surprise you. I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying we have that conversation with everybody to make sure what we're doing works. And we're all about customer service. If you looked at our Google reviews, if you look us up on Reddit, you look us up anywhere, there's not many people that can say something bad about the brand. And that is reason number 2. I don't take any money up front till I know you're happy. Because if I say, hey, these aren't for you, you never paid for them, just go ahead. We're going to do this, this, and this. That person can leave a bad review, but it's pretty hard for that person to do when they didn't even pay for them.
Right.
Well, and that's when I was kind of thinking about, what I want to do moving forward. And that's why I reached out to you and said, hey, I want to partner with you. Right.
Yes.
And it was, because I knew you a little bit. I'd had the experience with you. I don't go to a match where I don't see another shooter.
Right.
Almost every match, I see a shooter wearing another pair of Hunter's HD Gold. Now, granted, this past weekend there was 3 of them, but then of course that was the Bratchards were shooting with on the squad in front of us. So,
did he shoot that sub 1 second stage? God damn! I saw that video. That was fast. I couldn't believe what Lance Bratchard Jr. is doing right now.
You realize that's an April Fool's joke, right?
No, I saw that shit and I blew my mind.
No,
I've seen him shoot in person. The son of a bitch is fast.
I think I think there's some stages he might be able to get sub 1 second, but I doubt it's going to be.
I didn't look at the date because I'm always over the place, but that doesn't shock me. Yeah. So.
No, because I've watched it and I've shot with him before, and I'm like, I know he can. I know there's a couple stages where he's real close, if not there. And I'm watching the video and I'm like, I think I watched on the 2nd or the 3rd, right?
I'm fixing to go cuss him out on Instagram right now. That's a damn April Fool's joke.
I'm pretty sure it is. But I mean, there are stages he could. I mean, like Roundabout and Showdown. I think he could probably do sub 1 second. A little harder on Smoke and Hope, because that's like the slowest fast stage that in Steel Challenge. Right. Everybody looks at it and goes, oh, this will be fast and easy because there's these massive plates and they're right there, like 7 yards. And there's these massive steel plates. Like those are going to be easy to hit.
Yeah.
Every time I hear somebody say that, I'm like, I guarantee you they miss. Probably they've got makeup shots on at least 3 strings.
Oh, that's the way USPSA. It looks good on the ground, but they don't know where those hits are at.
Yeah.
But that's something we started as well. And we'll be live again at the World Speed Shooting Championship this year in Talladega. But one thing we're doing with the new trailer that I'm taking around, we're exclusively on Rumble going live at the different shooting competitions I'm going to. And that's been huge because I've got 9 cameras total that I can set up throughout the match. And you're seeing different angles of the shooter. We just went live at the Wyoming Antelope Club down in Clearwater 2 weeks ago for the Doc Welk Memorial match. And most of that stuff you see up range, but we had cameras down range and everything else. You just got to see different angles that you never could see before shooting that incredible USPSA match they put on down there. So
Well,
that's really fun.
The evolution of what you guys have been providing at matches has kind of grown over the past couple of years and
Yes.
stuff like that. I mean, was it last year? It was kind of you and Jake Martins kind of
Yep.
sitting back by the cart and you're just talking about it and you know you could kind of see downrange and there was some coverage, but yeah, it's interesting and I think it's something that we need in the shooting sports. You know, the problem is you know, obviously finding a good venue for it, and Rumble is definitely become your home for that. So
it has.
You know,
yeah, we got a golf cart now. It's pre-wired with Starlink, and I pretty much roll the golf cart out of the back of the trailer, and I could be live in about 10 minutes. So it's a lot. It's going to be awesome this year. So it's going to be awesome.
So I guess one question I think that I think a lot of people might not realize is you do more than just the gold lenses. You have the active blue and you have the ruby.
Yes,
What's the difference?
Hunter's HD Ruby we came out with after Hunter's HD Gold, and it was designed for the shotgun shooting sports, and it makes green disappear or mute out. I won't say disappear, but it makes it mute, and it makes orange clays light up like it's on fire. And that lens, like our other lenses, also changes as well. So in low light situations, or if it's raining, it's a light ruby color. When the sun comes out, it changes to a dark royal ruby color. Now, what gave us the difference there is anybody in the shotgun world knows about Pilas. And Pilas did a great job with their marketing of needing this lens color for this, needing this lens color for this, needing this lens color for that. And we studied that, and we studied the percentage of light based on the UV scale of what it's doing. And the Hunter's HD Ruby works about 3 to 4 different lenses of Pila. So you can have the one lens that does everything that normal people use in low light, rain, sunlight, going in and out of the trees on the sporting clays. So that's a huge advantage for Ruby. Now, shotgunners are amazing people that if they spend a lot of money in the shotgun sports. And I went to a shotgun match and I did demos of Ruby, and they came back going, "How much are these?" I said, "Well, they're normally $400 for a prescription online or non-prescription. I do the non-prescription for $300." They're like, "Well, they can't be as good as my Pilas because my Pilas are $1,200," and it turned them off. And so that was my objection to overcome was they're not as expensive as Pilas, so they can't be as good. So I had to educate people saying, look, Pila is not a lens manufacturer. Pila gets lenses made, then they go to a wholesaler to get marked up, then they go to a retailer to get marked up for you. So they're being marked up 3 times before they even touch the consumer side of the market. So we could charge you just as much money as you want to pay for those. But the difference is Pila, which did a great job with their marketing, and their frames are phenomenal. I've got some 2 lens Pilas that I wear a lot that I put my lenses in that had the 2 separate frames. I can't do the single face shields, and we'll explain that in a second. But all Pilas are polycarbonate. And we talked about that earlier. We use Trivex. Trivex is lighter and stronger, like we talked about, but the 43% more light coming to your eyes is where our lenses is the game changer because nobody else is using Trivex. I called PPG Industries, who owns Trivex, and I asked them about getting Trivex to use it in an injection molding process to make single face shields. The answer was pretty quick, no, we're not going to do that. And I asked why. And they said, well, nobody can get it because it's under government contract because it's used to make the face shields and shields and airplanes and everything else and fighter jets. I said, enough said, because based on that, if I can't get it, that means Pila or Wiley X or Oakley single face shields, nobody can get it. And that was pretty much the answer to that question. So that's why we can't do the single face shields.
Uh-huh.
So, but no, Hunter's HD Ruby is huge for the shotgun world. We make a lot of lenses for the shotgun world. I've actually designed a frame for the shotgun world, but I've got to buy 1,000 of them to get started. and I'm not ready to go strictly to the shotgun shooting sports and leave the action shooting sports alone to get my return on investment. Now, Active Blue, we came out with, which is a neat lens altogether because it's I knew Roger who owned Maui Jim at the time, and he don't own Maui Jim anymore. He sold to a company in Europe that owns Mont Blanc and a bunch of other high-end brands. So Roger and I are good friends in the optical industry. And I told him, I said, we're getting rid. He said, we're getting ready to sell. I said, please God, tell me it's not Essilor. He goes, no, I'm selling to a company in Europe. Blah, 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 blah. I just said that. But, and I told him, I said, I'm getting ready to come out with variable polarized lens. He goes, you're going to do it, aren't you? I said, yep. And that's Active Blue. Now, Active Blue, when you're indoors and at nighttime, it's a beautiful light sapphire color like you see in the pictures. When you get outside in the sun, it goes from a light sapphire to a dark royal sapphire. It goes to a mirror flash finish to hide your eyes that it doesn't have indoors. But also, when you're outdoors, it changes to a polarized lens, and it's not polarized indoors. Now, saying that, it's a brand new technology, came out 2.5 years ago in the optical industry. But the difference is when you wear a polarized lens, you can't see your electronics, you can't see the tablet, you can't see how much you're paying for gas, a lot of things you can't see. The Active Blue actually enhances your electronics when you're looking through them when they're polarized. So the variable lens technology actually enhances electronics, and it's a game changer. We've got pilots with Delta, Southwest, and United Airlines that are wearing Active Blue to fly with. So it's a game changer in the polarized technology market. It's still the Trivex lens that allows 43% more light to your eyes than polycarbonate lenses. Now, guess what? If you go to a glass polarized lens, still the best polarized lens you can get. We just don't make them, but
They're expensive and heavy.
Yes, it's heavier, and you also can't see your electronics. So there's a give and take there, and some people need that when they're on the deep sea and everything else. And I get it; it's a learning curve. But we've got a lot of people that, if you go to our Active Blue Instagram page, we've got people that do shark tours out in the ocean. We've got pilots. We've got a lot of people in different situations that are wearing Active Blue now and really making a difference in that world of Active Blue. So it's pretty cool exactly what's happening with all that. So I hope that answers your question, Ken. So
Well, I knew that because I had read that up, but it was one of those things that I wanted to make sure that, for the audience, that they had been made aware of.
AKTIVEBLU.
Yeah, I spelled it wrong. But I brought that picture up for you,
yes.
So you could talk about that's what you're talking about with the mirror and the.
Yep, has a mirror flash finish to hide your eyes some. That don't hide your eyes completely. It's not a full mirror, but when they get dark and you can't really see your eyes. Because I told people a long time ago when I came out with Hunter's HD Gold, I said, these are not beachwear. You will get busted at the beach if you wear Hunter's HD Gold. But Active Blue is more beachwear friendly. You won't get busted as quick.
Well, I have a feeling I'm going to like these Hunter's HD Gold as much as I think I'm going to, and I will be using my HSA funds to purchase a set of Active Blue before the end of the year.
Nice. So we'll get you taken care of. You just work with Chris. He'll have you set up on all the discounts and everything else, your customer loyalty discounts and everything. So we'll take care of you. So
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And the nice thing is with Ken being a distributor now.
Yep.
When all my jealous guys at work start seeing how mine look nice and how they look
That's right.
during the daytime when I'm just walking around, I'll be sending them a Ken.
Yeah, and make sure in a situation, and people need to hear this as well. When you go to Ken's website, and let's say you want to use your HSA funds or your flex spending account funds, Ken's not going to be able to do that. So you're going to have to order them online. And when you order them online from us, before you pay for them, because you can't pay for your HSA FSA online either, you're going to have to actually call the office. And when you do, let us know that you found out from Ken at Retmark Arms, So he does that. He gets kickbacks for that as well, since he's an authorized retailer. So make sure you bring up his information. Glasses to find brass in the grass. Yes, they work well because the glare's cut down, but it just makes a big difference. Blood trails. My best way to get blood trails is night vision. Optics. That's the best way. But yes,
What about the ruby?
The rubies will do that, but I've used gold for blood trails as well, and they do work well, because what you're looking for is, it may not actually be a blood color. You're looking for something. You're looking for wet. You're looking for the wetness in the leaves, and it does make that pop as well. The hunting, you get so many different advantages for Hunters HD Gold in the hunting world. I mean, because that hence the name Hunters HD Gold. I didn't know there was going to be shooters. I could have called it Shooters HD Gold, but it was a hunting lens. I didn't know it was going to be, the shooting world was going to even be there. So it's neat how things have changed. But yeah, the hunters,
Well,
we got
I'm
hunters.
even more excited to get them for turkey.
The turkey hunting, the deer hunting. I've been alligator hunting with them. I've done axis deer hunting with them. I've done all kinds of different hunts, and they just, it's just a game changer when it comes to hunting. So game changer. So
Awesome.
we'll get Justin, get some feedback on the F class as well, because I'm looking forward to that feedback as well. Because I talked to somebody a long time ago, and I don't remember who it was. Somebody in Texas that does that, because he shoots a lot of the Ely ammunition on some stuff, and he shoots 22 long range stuff. And I don't remember who it was, but I have to figure out. But we'll get Justin's feedback and go from there, good or bad. We need to find out how it's going to work. So,
hey Mike, I'm trying to share my screen here. If you could pull it up real quick, I can show everybody the page. And if you see the very first link on my website is where you would go for any kind of custom orders. That'll take you right where you need to go. In fact, I'll just go ahead and click on it here. We'll come right up to here. It takes you right to the Hunters HD Gold. Kind of walks you through. Come down here. You choose your option. Go through here, fill out your information.
It hasn't loaded yet, Ken.
No, it hasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely click on the order at Hunters HD Gold, because that's important.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you click on that. It's gonna, it'll bring you here, and you'll be able to, and then just put where you heard it from. Put Rep Mark Firearms, and
yes,
that'll be beneficial to me. And Brian and his team will take care of you.
And every email from the website comes directly to my phone. I'm the one that responds to those.
I can verify that.
Yes. Yeah, my phone doesn't stop, but it's my way to keep a pulse of what's going on in the company. Because if somebody has a problem, I can immediately, one, respond to it, or two, get it to Chris or Lane in the first thing in the morning, and have that customer called with a solution when they call them back. So. But no, that's neat, Ken. I'm glad you did that, because I got a lot of other authorized retailers that don't do that one tab like you did. And it's just like, if they don't mention who it is, it's really hard to go back and do anything about anything. So, well,
I did something that most of your retailers probably aren't going to do, and that's a complete 100% build of that website. So,
oh, nice.
This is not, I went to a provider and used their plug and play website. This is 100%. I built it out. Everything's there. The only thing that isn't me is the back end, and that's for like any payment processing and stuff like that. I didn't want nothing to do with that. The card's mine, but once you enter your credit card information and hit submit, that all goes away. I don't keep any of that information. Don't track it. That goes through authorized.net and then goes to my back end underwriter. And anybody that Justin's dealt with this in the past, dealing with underwriters and payment processing with firearms related stuff. I went through and I'm using it's Taxall Pay or something like that. One of the payment, so it's an underwriter. So I didn't have to worry about, once I'm selling firearms, all of a sudden, having Square or whoever, Stripe, all of a sudden holding up my funds and making it hard for me to get stuff to my customers and stuff like that. So I went complete custom, which was a real pain, but I think in the long run, it's going to do me. I've got most everything done. I've, as far as stuff set up. I mean, right now my inventory processing, I still got to figure that out, but that's easy enough to fix. As far as, I'm not a high volume order, so I'll be able to directly respond to any orders. When they initiate.
And what we're doing for you as well, we're drop shipping for you. So you send us the order in, it gets processed the next day and usually shipped out the next day. So you're gonna have a quick turnaround for your customers as well. So
and that was another benefit is I don't have to buy several $1,000s worth of inventory to be able to,
Nope. And if one of your customer buys a pair and says, "Hey, I like this, but it don't fit like this," we handle all your exchanges and everything. So we handle all that for you.
And that's explained. That was the one thing. It was like, we're going to explain this all. I did everything I could to align myself with what your website, says as far as, the FAQ. I've got a specific FAQ page.
Oh, nice.
A lot of the information that you're going to find on Hunters HD Gold, if you go to my website, you'll find it specifically for the products. Hopefully helps you, helps me, helps the shooting sports.
Well, that it does. And that's one thing when I first got started, I've already turned down offers with Dick's Sporting Goods. I've turned down offers with Cabela's. I've turned down offers with Academy. Because when I got into the industry really heavy in 2021, I met all these people like, "Hey, we can get you in this store. We can get you in this store. We can get you in this store." And I'm like going, "It's not what I want." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not trying to get rich quick. That's not my goal here. That's not the dream I dream about. My dream is I've got 17 employees. I want to keep everybody employed and keep the brand in the optical lab going for next year, be 50 years." But when Optical Prescription Lab started in 1977, my wife's mother, we took care of independent ophthalmologists and independent optometrists. So we don't have the big box accounts. We've always taken care of the independents. So my logic when I did Hunters HD Gold is the same. If you go to our authorized retailers, they're all independent. They're all mom and pops like you, Ken, and your company. They're all people that care about what we're doing as an industry to take care of the Second Amendment and make it grow stronger within inside ourselves and not worry about cancel culture when Dick's Sporting Goods CEO decides to go freaking stupid and get rid of firearms. And I haven't spent a dime in Dick's Sporting Goods since. But it's my right. Your right to spend your money. I'm not telling you what to do. That's just what I did. I have not walked into Dick's Sporting Goods since. But imagine if I had Hunters HD Gold in there and all that shit went down, what have I got to do now and how much longer is my contract with these nuts? So I can deal with independence. So if Ken and his company says, "Hey, we're going to do this, this, and this," then me and Ken get to have a conversation that, well, this may be good for the brand or may not be good for the brand, but I get to have a conversation with somebody. So that's how we want to keep it with independence, because if he's like, "Brian, we need to do this and do this," I can have a conversation going, "Yep, that makes sense, Ken. Let's make that happen." So that's the best thing about it.
I understand your logic for what it's worth.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. So that's what we do. And I doubled down on the shooting sports in 2020 when all the independent ophthalmologists and optometrists shut down with COVID. I deemed ourselves essential. I didn't shut us down. I didn't close the lab. We put out letters to the police departments and fire departments in central Alabama, and we made lenses for a lot of people. And then Jake Martins, you talked about him earlier with USPSA, found out about this and said, "Send me that letter." Jake Martins at that time sent that letter at the time to 38,000 members of USPSA. We were making lenses for people all over the United States, and the shooting sports is what kept us in business during that time. Because if it wasn't for Hunters HD Gold, we wouldn't be having this conversation today, because the lab would have closed back in 2020. We'd have never recovered from COVID at all. We'd have had to close down and never made it. So my desire for the shooting sports and the Second Amendment to grow and continue, it's a whole nother rant that I do on my own channel.
Which you should go check out over on Rumble.
Yes.
Yeah, with the big box store, when you get an account like that started, if they back out, it's detrimental because you've got all this huge amount of inventory you're moving, then all of a sudden it just stops, and it's it can be crippling to a company.
It can be. Exactly right.
You become so reliant on on that, you change your whole production based on it. Yeah.
Brian, is there anything else you want to add?
Thank you so much for talking about boring glasses. It's not a topic that hits a lot of hot buttons. It's not it's not a lot of things there that make people go, but that's what got us started in 2018 when I started going to matches in Steel Challenge, where it all started for me. Nobody talked to me for about 6 months because they didn't even come talk to me yet. This son of a bitch is selling something for $375. He's done lost his damn mind. These $10 safety frames are just fine. And I realized that being in retail management my entire life, I told Sherry, I'm on an education tour. I've got to educate people about what we're doing and how we make lenses because people don't know what it is. There's a lot of great frame companies out there, but there's not a lens company like me making lenses for a living. So after about 6 months, people are like going, this son of a bitch ain't going anywhere. And I'm here still. So they come talk to me, got demos, and they found out there in the first couple of years I was going, I was giving away free pairs left and right with all the matches I was sponsoring. So it was pretty smart to come hang out and talk to me when it first got started as well. But all kidding aside, we're pivoting all over the place, but we've made a huge pivot this year to really focus on what we're doing on the Rumble channel with all the live events. When I had the Mercedes van, when Ken met me, I did podcasts from the front part of the van. That's where I did my podcast from. And the podcast is called Hunters HD Gold Behind the Lens. And great podcast, by the way, because it's about 45 minutes of getting to know somebody and about 15, 20 minutes about shooting. It's really a cool conversation that we have with a lot of people in the industry. And now we're doing live podcast on Rumble. And that's a new thing for me because when I'm having a conversation in front of somebody, I can read body language a lot easier and see if I'm trying to interrupt you to have a point. It's hard to interrupt somebody over the internet. It sucks until you get good at it. So I've learned to deal with that. But now we're doing live podcast. This tomorrow night, I just put it in the chat. We're doing one tomorrow night with Steve Foster, the owner of Creekside Customs, and our premium subscribers get to ask questions. They become part of the show. So that's a new thing we're doing, and it's really taken off like crazy. We're doing monthly giveaways, quarterly giveaways to our premium subscribers. Tomorrow we're giving away a gun. This is an exclusive. I don't know about it, but tomorrow night we're going to be giving away a gun to one of our premium subscribers, a Ruger XMR, tomorrow night. So there's a lot we're doing to giving away, and it's just all part of the process of building the shooting sports and building more knowledge around the shooting sports. Because the shooting sports, if you're just a shooter and just go out plinking, having a good time, the shooting sports can be very, very intimidating because they think I'm going to go here, people are going to make fun of me, people are going to laugh at what happens here, and they get put under the timer. It's a big thing. I'm trying to let people know that everyday people are doing this. We got kids as young as 7 years old and adults as old as 84 now, I believe, is how old that gentleman is from Key West who comes to shoot the Worlds. So everybody is shooting the shooting sports. And, the people we scare off the most are police officers because they'll come to a match and realize a 13-year-old girl just beat them and they can't handle that. So we try to get through that working with the police officer saying, look, it's different. This is what people practice every day because police officers get their feelings hurt real quick when they come to a match thinking, I've got training. This is what I do for a living. And like I said, a 13-year-old girl hands them their ass in a match.
And that's at a local match. That's not even at a major.
Yes. That's right. That's local. Exactly right.
Imagine showing up to a match and you see Justine or Jalise Williams.
Oh,
like see these small girls, and like you have like Jalise show up and she decides she's shooting her 45 single stack that day, right?
Yep.
And she's running, major power factor loads, and she's got that gun shooting flatter than the guy that's running powder puff loads with his 9mm. It's crazy.
Exactly. But they just got through shooting. The Berry's still open as well, and it's just amazing to watch what's happening around the shooting sports around the country. And I'll be hitting probably 30 matches this year. We'll be at the NRA show this year. I'm going to be hanging out with Michael Bain in his booth at NRA. We're going to be both promoting our Rumble channels and giving a lot of free stuff at the NRA show. So if you're going to be in the Houston area next week, stop by and see us at the Michael Bain booth. So
I do have a question for you. How do you become a premium subscriber for your channel on
Awesome.
Rumble?
Great question, because you can't do it from the app, we found out. I've actually talked to Rumble about they're working on a fix from that. But you can only do it when the show is live or the show is in it right now. So right now you can go click on the show, you go into the live chat and hit subscribe just like you do on your channel here. So if you hit the dollar sign on the Rumble channel now, you hit the dollar sign and it says a button says subscribe, and it says, you can do your rant. They get that money pretty quick because at the top kind of shows everything there. But if you hit subscribe, then it pulls up a thing for $5 a month, and that's how you do that on the show. So
okay, perfect. I'll do that right now.
Oh,
I was trying to figure that out. I was watching.
Yeah. That'll get you in the drawing for tomorrow. You'll be one of the people who can take your chance on winning a gun. So
I was watching you and Jake talking about the command center. And I was watching that video, and I'm like watching it going, like, we keep talking about this become premium, but I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, there's some things. Rumble is amazing. Is Rumble perfect? Absolutely not. But Chris, the owner of Rumble, is listening to us. We actually have a shooting sports category now on Rumble. Difference between Hunters HD Gold, B-Rays, and Slingshot. Great question. Give you a quick answer. The Slingshot has a thinner temple, less than 3 millimeters thick on the temple, and the B-Rays has a thicker temple. That's pretty much your only difference. The lens size is a little bit bigger on the B-Rays compared to the Slingshot, but the Slingshot is for really thin heads. And really, if you have over the ear muffs, you can't get anything thinner besides the Aviator. So that's a great question as well. You got 42 seconds and your Red Wings are going to win, buddy.
I know.
I've been watching it for you.
I turned it off.
No, don't turn that shit off. Panthers are up 3-2 right now with 1 minute left as well, beating the Canadians. So I'm watching.
I need them to beat Ottawa Thursday night.
They're going to beat them. So it's a lot of fun.
Ken, I'll bring my tablet. We can watch it on the way back.
Watch what?
Steve Foster.
The podcast.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know if I'll be able to. Well, I won't be watching. I'll be driving. We're having problems with the subscription.
The best thing is too, it's a live podcast event. So if you do miss it, the following Wednesday, it'll be on your favorite podcast platform. So Apple, Spotify, everything out there on the podcast platform. It comes out a week later. That's it's recorded live, and we do live there on the spot with Rumble. But the following week, it'll be on your podcast platform. So if you miss it, go check us out on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Just pull up Hunters HD Gold, and it's going to pull up Hunters HD Gold behind the lens. It's a really neat show. It's not one that really. It's a great if you want to learn about people, because here's what I love about the show, and I'll stop talking about it. So many different people have different backgrounds, different histories. I got one guy right now, JB Creech. I'll say his name. He lives down in Florida, and he's a shooter. And what he's in charge of is the communication back to the United States with all the planes going on right now in Iran. Now, he's a competitive shooter. He's a competitive shooter, and he does stats for nationals. But my point being is saying that is the podcast, we learn about all these stories about what they do in their real life. And then the shooting sports bring us together all as a family. And that from so many different backgrounds. And to me, that's what's exciting. I've talked to school teachers. I've talked to law enforcement. I've talked to, JJ Racaza, the Jesse James of the world, all the people we've done podcasts with. And what brings us together at that moment was the shooting sports. And that shit's so cool to me. So.
Guess I should have left it off. Anyway.
16 seconds. It's 3-2. What's wrong?
No, they just scored.
Did they really?
Yes.
And so Montreal just scored against the Panthers. Son of a bitch. It's 3-3. Your game's not 3-3, is it? Yeah, it's 3. Yep, it's 3-3 too. Both our teams we follow just tied it up. That's such bullshit.
So,
that's playoff hockey, baby.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'm just hoping we make it there this year.
The NRA need us, and we need the NRA. I agree with that statement 100%. And Gun Owners of America is wonderful as well, and all the other things we're doing. What's that?
Are you going to be at Goals?
I will not. I was planning on going to Goals if it was going to be in Knoxville, but they took it at Iowa this year, and I don't think that's going to be able to be able to swing that. So, are you going?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Have you heard about GunCon?
I have heard about GunCon, and I was invited to go to that, but I'm already going to be at another match.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because that's GunCon, I think, falls right between World Speed Shoot and Area
18th of June.
It does, and I will be at a shooting sport called Metal Madness, and that's up in Kentucky.
Okay, so I have seen those guys. I started advertising in at some point. I know there's a few ranges that I thought they started out of Indiana for some reason, but
no, they started off in Grand Rivers, Kentucky. Ed White owns the company. Okay. Yep.
And what is Metal Madness?
Metal Madness is it's not really a competition, but it's a great. Ed's crazy. That son of a gun. He'll have a mom and dad and grandfather bring their kid to shoot Metal Madness for the first time, and he'll have the father, the mother, and the grandfather all shooting before it's over with. And what it basically boils down to is the stages are never the same. You shoot 10 strings of 10 different stages, and there's over 250,000 different combinations the way they set it up. It's all rimfire. Well, he's got Metal Madness Extreme now, which is centerfire, but it's all started off as rimfire. And it's a neat sport that you basically, the steel targets are numbered in different orders. So you have to shoot them in the order of how they're done. Like Steel Challenge, you shoot them any way you want to. In Metal Madness, you got to shoot the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, and the stop plate. And it stops the clock. And it's instead of going left to right in Steel Challenge, you're going up and down. It's a great game. It's really neat. Really neat. My game's going in overtime.
Red Brush that started shooting Metal Madness once a month.
Yes.
And I'm hoping. So my wife is from Newburgh, Indiana, and so I get down there every now and then. I'm hoping to be down there at some point in time for one of their Metal Madness, because I saw it several years ago, and
yes,
okay, that looks like fun. I really would like to do that. So.
Yeah, we'll be live at the Metal Madness Homecoming this year, which is a big event. We'll be live at the World Speed Shoot the week before, so there's going to be a lot of places you're going to be able to, if you want to see what the shooting sports is all about, and get to see shooters interviewed, shooters getting part of the conversation during the shooting sports. We're actually going to have wireless mics on competitors. We're going to have all kind of stuff going on like we did at the WAC for the Doc Welt Memorial match. We're going to really have a lot of things going on this year on our Rumble channel. So you're going to definitely want to check that out. And it's free. You ain't got to subscribe, but it's free to watch. It's free to do. And it's really a great way to get to see what the shooting sports is all about. So.
Wow. This weekend they're going to be in Arizona for Metal Madness.
That's right. They did do a range out there. Holy cow!
Yeah, they're doing one at Hoover.
I'm kind of glad that's because when I first saw it, they were real fledgling kind of startup, and I'm glad it's that they seem to be taking off. Like
Ed,
it's a
is
good thing.
Ed has done real well with that. He's got a lot of huge manufacturers that sponsor, helping sponsor what he's doing. He has prize tables and
It's
those
$10 a
matches.
match.
Huh?
$10 a match.
Yes, yes, that's it.
I thought what Ken dragged me to was cheap.
Yeah. No, it's about getting people educated to the shooting fun sports of that. It's designed as a leader to get people to do Steel Challenge, to get people to do Rimfire Challenge Shooting Association, to get people to shoot Rimfire National, National Rimfire
SASP.
SASP, everything exactly. It's a feeder for all the shooting sports, and it's really cool what Ed White's doing. And we'll be, like I said, we'll be doing the homecoming at Grand Rivers, Kentucky, the week after the World Speed Shoot, and this going to be there's so many vendors come to that because it's really neat. It's a really neat event. So.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah,
it's only 8 hours to Grand Rivers.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now. Just
and we can
wondering-
probably swing by and grab Paul on the way.
Well, the problem is for me isn't necessarily the drive or anything like that. I got 12 hours to Talladega the week before, and then I got Area 5 right after that.
Oh, that's brutal.
And
yep,
I did that last year, and I was fine, but it takes 3-4 days to recover from those multi-day matches to really kind of be able to do that in 3 of those in a row. Because I wanted to do Area 3 Worlds and Area 5 last year, but
yes.
It was literally boom, boom, boom. Like on top, they stacked. I'm like, who the hell scheduled this?
Yep.
That's just nuts.
There's only so many weekends that shootable weekends in the year. And this year, Area 5 this is their 10-year anniversary they're doing up there. So it's going to be huge. I may try to make that one. So
now, the thing is, that's kind of a falsehood because there's 52 shootable weekends in a year.
Yes.
If you're brave enough.
Yes, that's the whole key. Yes. And there's a lot going on. And the shooting sports happens from November to January. I'm in Florida or Arizona because you're right. That's their biggest time they shoot. But for area matches and all these major matches, there's only so many weekends they can do it on.
Exactly.
So that's what I meant by that.
And that's the one complaint I have about Steel Challenge is all the Florida boys are in the middle of their primary season while we're all freezing our butts off. And of course, then they get to go to World Shoots and they're all tuned up.
That's right. That's right.
And we're all going, hey, I've only had like 1 month and a half of good shooting weather.
They've already had the West Florida Steel Challenge Championship. Jeff Jones put that on. They've had the Georgia State Championship. So there's some area matches. You just got to drive south for them.
Well, they just had Steel Challenge. Is it their Steel Challenge Nationals down in Florida too?
Doug Koning put that on. Yep, that's correct. So there's
it's one of those things. It's like I don't really want to move down south.
No,
but I almost need to move down south to be able to be ready for the big matches.
Well, they do have some solutions out there, and one is Ace XR is a dry fire system that you can use. That he's got it right there. He knows all about Ace XR, and if you don't want to invest in that, Steve Foster with Creekside Customs has the Steel Challenge banners because in Steel Challenge there's a lot of muscle memory.
Those are downstairs. I also went so far as this year I bought a Staccato 2011 Airsoft, and I've got a 1/4 range, 1/4 Steel Challenge range in my basement. A couple stages I can't run out of the basement. I'm hoping to be able to outer limits, and there's a couple of them that the distance, the perspective, even at 1/4, I don't have quite enough room to be able to shoot them in my basement. So, but yeah, nope, yes, the Steel Challenge. I bought them. My Steel Challenge banners are before Steve bought the banners out
from Ken down in Florida. Yep.
So I bought mine from Ken. Also, the banners are if you're trying to get a little less expensive than the banners. Shoot Fast, Don't Suck has stickers that you can put up for the Steel Challenge. And even if you're not doing Steel Challenge, if you're doing any kind of dry fire, whether it's for self-defense or whatever, those are a great option to give you some different size targets so you can change your force, your distance perspective while dry firing without changing your distance. So you can move from, I believe it's 7 feet is what the Go Fast Don't Suck is what they're for Steel Challenge.
Yep.
You know, so but you can get, I mean, you get small little circles, you get, you know, larger plates, smaller plates, so you get that perspective of distance without and you can use those for any dry fire, right? It's not Steel Challenge specific. And I think they probably have some other ones. And there's great companies out there. I've seen some of them now that you kind of build a stand and they've got these magnetic, you can change your targets because they're magnetic and you just stick them up there real quick. And lots of great options out there.
JV Training Accessories, we carry his stuff in the command center as well. He makes some magnetic targets for USPSA.
Those are probably the ones I saw. Yeah, there's some great options out there for dry fire where you don't have to, when you can't make it to the range or you don't have a range that, you know, allows you to do the dynamic movement and practice in live fire.
Yeah.
You know, so you get that benefit.
Yep. There's a lot of tools out there. So it sounds like you don't have an excuse yourself.
Well, no, there's a big difference between live and between the Ace XR. The Ace XR, I can't, so during the season, I can't use the Ace XR. Okay. I have a perception problem that I have to change the way I perceive the targets in the VR versus when live fire. And if I go from one to the other, I have to retrain my brain. And if I'm shooting almost every weekend, that becomes a problem. And now I'm I get to the range and I have to fight that muscle memory that I built up from the Ace. So that's where I really like the using an airsoft indoors really helps with that, and it kind of helps me there. So
it does.
But there's a big difference between live fire and match conditions and
yes. And Go Fast Don't Suck has targets, has the targets for the wall that are for IDPA and IPSC as well. So
a lot of great companies out there for that.
Oh, there's so many good companies, and then those companies are all listed there. But Red Wings going to a shootout. So is damn Panthers. Damn it, God! Look at this crap. So both teams.
See, you jinxed us by watching the game.
I'm not watching it. I just got it pulled up on the store on the NHL app, so that's why it didn't update. No, I've got.
Yeah, I don't pay. I either check the score after or if I'm watching, if I can watch the game. But I'm not a watch the numbers type guy. That drives me nuts. If I'm watching the numbers and I know there's a delay, and I'm like, well, okay, what's happened? You know. And sometimes, like some of the watch the numbers things, something will pop up on social media, and you'll see what happened before it updates on the app, and that drives me nuts.
Yeah, you have to turn that off when you're watching the game for sure. So that's cool. Justin, what sports are you into?
Well, I grew up playing hockey.
Oh, nice.
I played that for about 20 years of my life. And then too many knee injuries, I had to change. Yeah. And I got into the shooting sports and that's what I've been at. Precision is my thing. That's my passion.
That's awesome.
And so I got into the F class. Somebody I knew, it was a friend of a friend. I always admired the targets and trophies and the guns and everything, and it's like, man, this is awesome, and I could have got into bench rest, but it just F classes where life led me. So
Yeah.
I still have an interest to try bench rest, and I have a gun to do it with. I just,
Yeah.
you got to develop a load for that. It's been kind
And
of
you're
low.
psychotic enough to do it.
Yep.
And NRL Hunter has been growing really fast as well. So
Yeah, I did that once. So before I got into F class, the year before, I just did PRS 22 just to get my feet wet with some competition, because it was not something I ever did before. I always competed against myself.
Yep.
And even now, even going to matches, I still compete against myself. I'm always my number one competitor, but you know, but I wanted that real life experience of actually competing against other people, and
Yep.
and so I already had a gun that I could go try it with, and me and Ken went and tried it out, and we had some fun with it. I had a lot of fun, actually. I really enjoyed it. I'd like to do it again. But time, I can only shoot so many things, and you know how that goes. You just
Yes. Yes, I do.
I enjoyed the PRS. I love the F class. I'd love to shoot bench rest too, but I got to pick and choose my battles and what I have time for.
I get it.
I'm trying to get him out to a steel challenge match. I figure that'll be his intro to the action shooting sports.
That's what
I started with
about.
USPSA, which was kind of interesting because I was going to shoot long range, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to build a 308 and I'm going to go shoot 1,000 yards. And I started looking at it and started doing stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, long range has changed a lot since I had last looked at it. And then I started, I think a USPSA showed up on one of my social medias one time, and I was like, well, that looks like fun. And then I started paying attention. I'm like, well, that's a little cheaper to start into than it is for long range. Well, and so I bought a Canic and went and shot a couple of local matches, and then found Steel Challenge, and it's one of those things. It's realizing that Steel Challenge I didn't have to run as much.
Yes, that's correct.
Not having to. Yeah. Well, and I RO'd out at Two Gun Nationals when it was out in Grand Junction, Colorado. And at the time, I was trying to get the president of USPSA to come up with the fluffy division or the fluffy category. So you got your super seniors, your juniors, your law enforcement, your military. And he was squatted with me. And at the time, I can't remember his name, but
Mike Foley.
Mike Foley. Yeah. No, it wasn't Foley.
It was, okay. So it was Yemen?
Maybe. Yeah. Big, real tall guy. Got a big gut. I don't think it was Foley.
No, that ain't Foley. That ain't definitely not Yemen.
No,
that was
Yemen.
Yeah, that was shit. I did a podcast with him. The Area 3 director, Sherwin.
Yep.
Sherwin.
And so he was on his way out, right? So
the
elections were ongoing, and he was on his way out. I think Heeman was one that came in after him.
Yep.
Right. And he was on his way out. And I was like, listen, the last thing you do is you've got to get us a fluffy category for those of us guys that, aren't 20 years old and 120 pounds, athletes, and I was trying real hard to get that one.
Yeah. I think Ozempic's made it where they can't do that anymore because people are losing weight left and right now.
That stuff's expensive, though.
No shit.
So Ken. Well, I know you and Mike have been wanting to get me out to a match at least a bunch of times last year. Last year wasn't a good year for me, but I can foresee that happening.
Much better this year.
So,
I said it's much better this year.
Yes,
yes. Especially because your son's getting old enough, we might be able to get him out.
Free.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got freedom, man.
Your son's 7, right?
Yeah, he'll be 7 in July.
Yeah, so he's the right age where we get him to the range. We get him introduced to handling the firearm specifically for the matches, and then once he's ready, we'll get him to a match. And by the time he's 15, he'll be out there kicking all our butts and
world champion.
I bet you he could probably shoot an SR-22.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure he
Those
can
are
run my
nice and
JP
small.
just fine. It's just a matter of
the weight.
getting him comfortable holding it, right?
Yeah.
I've got the ultralight barrel, and
Yeah.
Don't
I've
mind us.
got it.
Justin, we're just spending your money.
I've got a couple of Creekside Customs chassis with Crazy Ivan chassis that are real light as well. So we got a gun he can borrow. We'll set him up. So,
All right.
no,
So,
well, shit,
to answer,
the Panthers lost and the Red Wings lost, both in the shootout. Is that not
Yep.
bullshit? God damn.
that pretty much ends the Red Wings season. If they'd have won out, they had a chance to make the playoffs. Losing tonight, they're done.
Brian, you're rooting for the Red Wings.
I have friends that like the Red Wings. I'm a huge Florida Panthers fan. We've already got the big E next to our name this year. We're
Okay.
done. So
Okay. I'm just asking because I'm a Michigander. That's where I was born and raised. I live in Wisconsin for the last 17 years, but
Yeah.
that's my home stomping grounds.
nice. Very, very cool. Very, very cool.
Thank
I got into
you.
hockey when Nick Saban retired from football.
Okay.
Well,
Right, so-
that kind of changed the entire SEC. So,
growing up in Michigan around the Lansing area and then up in the Upper Peninsula, I thank God every day that I'm not a Lions fan.
Well, I was born in Tuscaloosa. I didn't have much of a damn choice. So
you were screwed. If you weren't Roll Tide, it was not going to be a very happy existence for you.
No, I went through the 80s and 90s where we didn't even have a coach. It was nuts. Mike Shula years. Ugh.
Hey,
Well, fellas, we're rolling
at
up on
least
a
you had
2-hour
Shula.
mark.
We had Don Morton up here before Barry.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
put it this way: I got into a fist fight with 3 other offensive linemen, and almost won. I was
Oh,
16
my.
at the time. That's how bad the Badgers football team was.
Damn it, son. That's hilarious.
Well,
I'm in no hurry to run off, but I know we're trying to keep the show under 2 hours, so I figure
exactly.
I'd just throw that in there.
Hey, y'all been
Yeah, we're kind of.
thanks
I
thanks
just
for
wanted
having
to
me on
pick
the
on,
show, guys.
I just wanted to pick on
Thanks for
Old
coming.
Iron quick. I put a couple of links in the notes or in the comments for you about reloading 22.
Nice.
So don't get lippy with me, buddy.
I've reloaded 5.7 before.
That's a pain in the ass. No,
It
thank you.
was on a single press. I did. Damn sure did.
Tom and Billy, a couple of our regulars, I've listened to them bitch back and forth about it in our Discord. So
It can be done. I've got the menu somewhere. I got the recipe for it somewhere. I did a lot of it. I got my 5.7 up here on the top up there is suppressed. So I shot the shit out of it. I had to reload it a lot. So.
ooh, that'd be nice and quiet.
Oh yeah, this is my 5.7 AR. I went through a lot of rounds on that joker.
Yeah, the only benefit about losing tonight is they at least got 1 point out of it. So
Yes, you're not out yet. You're not out yet.
I mean, mathematically they're still in it, but the way they've been
Yep.
playing, they're done. So
Well, they be like the New York Islanders and fire your coach with 4 games left and hire DeBoer, which is a crazy move.
So I can kind of understand getting DeBoer.
Oh, I love
kinda-
DeBoer. I loved
get
him with Dallas.
I kind of get it. But for God's sakes, don't fire Waff 4 games left when you still had a chance to make the playoffs.
And he's still on contract for 2 more years.
Yeah, I mean, let him know, hey, this is your last season. I don't care if you win the cup, you're done. You're gonna have to pay him anyway, so what's the point? But yeah, that was just well, I mean, it's the Islanders, so they haven't had a common sense since '85. But you know,
Guys, thank you so much for having me on the show tonight. It was a blast.
hey,
Thank you.
For coming.
if you want to come back and talk reloading anytime, you're welcome.
Oh man, I would love to. If you want me on the show, just reach out anytime. If you want to have some kind of contest with all your viewers on YouTube and Rumble, if you want to put something together and give away a pair of Hunters HD Gold next week, make sure they watch the show and let me know who won, and we'll take care of them.
Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do it in 2 weeks. Next week we're gonna have John Patton on. He was gonna be talking about GunCon. So
that's fine. So make sure you watch the Reloading podcast and for a chance to win a pair of Hunters HD Gold. And if you have a prescription, we'll do that for you for free as well. So
awesome. Thank you very much.
Let me know who the winner is, Mike.
We will. Thanks again, Brian.
You're welcome.
So-
Justin, get in touch with me. Mike will get you my information and we'll make some things happen. We'll get some good feedback from you.
Will
Absolutely.
do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty. Okay. So, quick business. Gotta hate that view. Patriot Patch Company. Patch of the month. I'm only showing the patch because I'll give a quick view of the sticker, but it glares. So slow is slow, fast is life. It's a lovely little modification of the slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So, and the original drawing. So, if you want to be a Patch of the Month Club member and help out the podcast, https:// firearmsradio.net/categories/podcast/reloading-2. And when you're there, you click on the red support button, and it takes you over to Patreon. Or you can sign up through Rumble to be a Patch of the Month Club member, too. You can do it through YouTube, but I'm going to tell YouTube on June 1st to get bent, so I'm hoping we get to the payout level before then with YouTube. If not, then I got to figure out how to get a refund to all the people that donated through YouTube. So, but that's a different story for a different day. If you like the lovely Reloading Podcast shirts or hoodies, or you want to get one of the cool tumblers, like this one, or you want a Reloading Podcast can koozie, also known as a can insulator, also known as you drink too slow, or it's your second drink. When you're at the Reloading Podcast homepage, click on the black merch button. It will take you over to Southern Gals Crafts. You can check out all the cool stuff there.
You can also get your Rabbit Hole Precision shirts there.
Oh, that's right. She's making you shirts now, isn't she?
Yes, that's correct.
I need to put
that link on my website. I haven't done it yet.
I'll have to put up a link on the show notes. So on the show notes, I've added a link to Rabbit Hole Precision. I've added a link to Retmark Firearms down at the bottom with all the other links. And I removed the Discord link because some sketchy people were using it to try and get into Discord. So, as previously, if you would like to join Discord, you can send me a text or leave me a voicemail, 608-467-0308. You can send us an email at reloadingpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on the various social medias. And there you go.
So if you go to Retmark Firearms, retmarkfirearms.com, you can use code RELOADING for up to $20 in free shipping. If you are ordering Condition 1 firearms cases over a $200 value, you're going to want to use the code SHIP10 because it gives you a better discount than what you would get with the Reloading. So,
excellent. And if you use coupon code Reloading Podcast on Rabbit Hole Precision, Justin will just laugh at you. Just like that. He will send you a video of it just like that. So
we'll just clip that and automate it.
We should. If you're over at Camerado.com checking out some of the sweet camo there, you can use coupon code RELOAD to save 5%. And that about wraps it up for tonight. We had the intention of making this an hour and a half, but Brian's amazing, and I kind of had advance notice that he was probably going to go longer because he hung with the guys that we like shooting for the entire episode. So, yeah, he's just like one of us. But Ken knew that already from talking to him normally, so I knew. But for going future, Justin and I are going to work really hard at being done in an hour and a half. So there might be days where I just turn around and go, all right, gang, keep your rail shiny. And we're done. So,
yep.
But I want to give a shout out to Brian, not only for coming on, but also for being gracious to Justin and I. And also shout out to Retmark Firearms for being a Hunter's HD Gold distributor now. That's exciting. So, shout out to everybody that tunes in every week. Also, thank you, Brian, for the contest. Two reasons I put it out for 2 weeks. First, I'm gonna edit. We should be completely caught up in audio before next week's show. So that way, the people who listen only actually have a chance. What we are going to do for the contest, if you want to be entered, you either call, text 608-467-0308. If you are not in the continent, or if you're not in the United States and you can't do that, which actually you should be able to do that for Canada because it's a Google Voice number, and I think Mexico too, but I don't know. If you can't, because you're out of country, then you have to send a email to reloadingpodcast@gmail.com with the memo, "We're golden." And then 2 weeks, I will do a live drawing on the show to see who wins it. So, leave a voicemail, send a text, 608-467-0308. Otherwise, if you can't, because it will cost you absorbent amount of money because where you are is not cool. Or just, well, I suppose if you're Canada, technically it's still cool this time of year. There's my bad joke for the day. Then you can send us an email, reloadingpodcast@gmail.com with the memo, "We're golden." So, on that note, keep your brass shiny.
Take some of the range with you.
Go for the gold.
Most importantly, two most important things that we say every week: support the Second Amendment and organizations that support the Second Amendment. NRA is proving that they're back and that they're doing what they should be doing. There's still some WLP cronies hanging on, but Doug is working like hell to kick all of them out and make sure that they have no power whatsoever. Doug's the current executive vice president. I've heard him on Gresham a few times. I've heard him some other places. And since day one, when he took over, his entire goal has been to restore the NRA. And he's doing a pretty damn good job. So 2 weeks from now is going to be the NRA convention down in Houston. I'm not going, mainly because I don't have the ability to travel that far this currently with funds. But second, starting Tuesday, a turkey hunt. So, but other shows coming up. GOA has their goals convention first weekend in August in Des Moines, Iowa. And GunCon will be in northeastern Ohio somewhere. I think Nils. But John Patton will be on next week to talk all about it. So maybe, just maybe, I can get him and Justin talking. Justin will actually be there as a vendor. We'll see. Not promising anything, but you know, if I can get them both in the same room and twist both their arms at the same time, maybe we'll hack it.
Maybe.
Anyway, make sure you're paying attention. Today was elections here in the state of Wisconsin. Hopefully you went and voted. It was for one of the important things was for Supreme Court. Neither of them were extremely exciting, but one was definitely better than the other. So make sure you're paying attention to who's running this fall. Make sure you're backing the right person. Make sure you're doing your homework. The NRA is working very diligently to try and get their letter grades out. I can say, honestly, in the past, they've been pretty accurate. Occasionally, there's some ones that are like, how the hell did that schmuck get that high of a grade? So, as we always say, verify. So, but pay attention. see what's going on. If you got a schmuck, contact their competitor and do whatever you can to support them. So, and if I don't sign off, Justin's going to fall asleep. So, most importantly, every week, I say it, I mean it. If you're struggling, reach out, get help. 988 from your cellular device. You can call or text, or 1-800-273-8255 if you still have a landline. The cell is so much quicker and so much better. As far as interface goes, you don't spend as much time on hold to get kind of going. 988 is more of a crisis contact. So if you're really struggling and you kind of starting to get those thoughts about starting a shotgun, or taking a short dive off a long surface, reach out, get some help, folks. I guarantee you, I promise you, there's at least one person that wants you still walking around the face of this earth. Okay, you may be believing whatever lies are being told in your head that you're worthless, and you're not, but you're not. Everybody has value. Everybody has, well, maybe not anti-gunners, but oh, wait a minute, they do. Cannon fodder. But seriously, reach out, get some help. If you're not in crisis, but you're kind of struggling, reach out to Walk and Talk America. They've got some great resources. If you're not self-employed, check with your human resources department and see if you have an EAP program. EAP usually has some free counseling too. So, and actually, a lot of times the EAP programs, EAP. You know what the sad thing is? I haven't had a freaking drop of alcohol since Saturday. So, anyway, but EAP programs have other free resources too. Will writing and other stuff like that normal people don't think about doing. So, but yeah, reach out, get some help, because I guarantee there's at least one person here that wants you, and you'd be surprised. You'll find out there's a lot more. So, thanks everybody, and good night.